Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a wonderful day. As always, leaving a like, leaving a comment, or subscribing. All of these things help out the algorithm for the channel and are very much appreciated. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. For those of you not looking at the screen, it says Bitcoin and Ethereum reverse gains. Altcoins turn red. It's just that time of the week. We are clearly in some type of a wide range right now when it comes to the price of the cryptocurrency markets. Bitcoin continuously moves anywhere between $29,000 and $31,000, and it has been that way for a number. It's been I think over 2 weeks or so around at this point. I'm not exactly sure where prices are heading, but there's a massive amount of momentum behind the scenes. This one says Bitcoin back below 30,000. Here's why a crash to 24,000 is possible. A crash to 20,000 is possible. A crash to $12,000 is possible. A $3,000 Bitcoin is possible. Anything is actually possible. The market is not moving in any type of normal way because every other world market isn't doing so either. We are no longer at the behest of actual supply and demand and people moving around the market. It is now larger world's events that are actually taking hold of the cryptocurrency market and swinging it wherever it actually sees fit. So should we get into a situation where stock markets end up falling by 25-30% over the course of a month, the cryptocurrency market is also going to turn even redder than it currently is right now. And that's just how it is. You may notice that every single time our market is going down, the stock market is going down. When we have a very good day and we look at stock news, stock futures are going up and the stock market has also gone up as well. As one might have imagined, it is quite popular news. There's a lot of people talking about it's the 200 SMA, the 95-day SMA. You got to look at this chart. You got to look at these numbers. But if you look at the patterns, it's usually around a 2 or 3 day movement. Something terrible happens in the stock market, we get affected. Something happens positively to the stock market. There's no fear injected into their markets. Our market also does very well during the exact same time. It says technical analysis. Ethereum fails near key resistance. Why $1,700 is the key? Nope. It's just another number that the price might fall down to, might hit, might eventually bounce off of as well, because I assume in a couple of days we are going to once again hear that Ethereum is at or near $2,000, and that is going to be a significant move for the market until the stock market moves back down once again, and the cryptocurrency market follows suit the same exact way. Also in very popular news right now, and it just seems completely logical because every single time that our market goes down, rich people continue to buy. It says Bitcoin is going through the lulls in prices, but beneath the sour sentiment, the biggest of whales are gobbling up loads of assets to increase the size of their holdings. This trend has been construed, as proof among some experts that a gigantic rally could be on the way for the asset. If that was true, we would be around a $73,000 Bitcoin right now, because the amount of accumulation that has been taking place over the last 2 years has been unprecedented. Sentiment, a leading cryptocurrency analytics tool, has unearthed, a trend among mega Bitcoin whales. Mega whales are addresses that hold over 10,000 Bitcoin. And the latest report from Sentiment reveals that those whales now control over 12% of the total supply of Bitcoin. They said the mega whale addresses of Bitcoin comprise partially of exchange addresses. Now, what? Oh? Is there an E missing? Oh, their high supply of Bitcoin in a year. We often analyze the 100 to 10,000 Bitcoin addresses for alpha, but accumulation from high tier can still be a promising sign. Yeah, surprising, right? No, not really, because this is how it always ends up taking place all the time. When whale news stops, that is when the market will start going up. That's how it's always been. It's been about a good 6-7 years or so at this point. That's always the trend. Whale news is constantly there, accumulating tons of Shiba Inu, accumulating tons of Ethereum. Bitcoin whales are gobbling this up. This is how you knew that we were in another accumulation period. Once we saw the Terra Luna fiasco, and they tried to sell off as much Bitcoin as they could to save the original project. And those coins that they sold onto the market to try and save Terra Luna were gone within a couple of days because Bitcoin whales also bought them up. The moment that whale news stops, as far as accumulation, usually is because they are full, and then prices end up moving up until they end up moving back down, and that's when we get news about whales once again that they're buying. So I guess that's silver lining in all of this, that the rich continue to get richer because they're always buying. Like, oh no, and there were so many other news stories today that were just really bothering me. Like this entire thing where they're talking about like it's quite peculiar that people are buying when the market is down, bear market down, prices down today. People still buying Bitcoin is because the prices are low for them. It's undervalued, and they know that at some point, even if it just simply doubles, they will have doubled their money back to its previous all-time high. That's how it works. You typically buy when prices are lower. Like when housing prices drop, that's when you buy. You don't buy when they're at their all-time high because you're overpaying. Also in the news, stock markets around the world that are currently open are tanking or are falling, and they continue to fall because they're going to continue to do so. It says European stocks futures are weakening. European Central Bank tightening fear grows. European stock markets are expected to open lower on Tuesday amid nervousness of potential monetary policy tightening to combat inflation. While the UK is political turmoil is an understatement. European equities are expected to feel the repercussions on the hawkish move by the Australia Central Bank earlier on Tuesday, raising interest rates by the most in 22 years. Jeez. And signaling more tightening to come as it battles inflation. The Reserve Bank of Australia lifted its cash rate by 50 basis points to 0.85, a more severe tightening than the 25 basis points that were expected, resulting in the S&P and ASX 200, their main equity index, to drop by 1.5%. The European Central Bank is meeting on Thursday and has been widely expected to use this get-together to make clear that rate hikes will be coming in the third quarter as well. European inflation is quite high. The European Central Bank is going to try and get it under control, the same as every other country around the world. And the way that they're doing this is by quantitative tightening. All the money that they were printing before, they're going to slow down the printing presses. And a lot of the equities and securities or whatever it is in every country that they were buying, they're going to begin to sell a lot of these back. And when you say that you're selling a lot of these back and the free money tap is closing or won't be as open, markets around the world will fall, which is what we are currently seeing. This is why, once again, the cryptocurrency market is also going down, because we are not immune to these movements. It has nothing to do, once again, with a 109,400 million SMA. What this chart is saying, look towards the stock markets. They are terrified right now that the money printer that has been going full force since 2009 and even more full forcer since 2020 is going to be shut off. Right. Yeah, free money. So that's all the price news. Nothing we haven't seen before. I mean, we were talking about this on Friday, Saturday. It's just the general ebb and flow of the market. For those of you who are relatively new to investing, this happens all the time, not even just something Within the cryptocurrency space, within the stock market, there's always periods of fear. There was a period of fear, was it 2012, 2013, within the normal stock market as well. There's always something that hits the news that's supposed to terrify people. People begin to sell off. 4.5 weeks later, people forget that that event even took place. Everybody's greedy, wants to make money all over again. Prices move back up. I think the only thing that is really, realistically, probably gonna move the cryptocurrency market right now is Ethereum's upgrade. That's the only kind of thing. And even if that falls flat, it's because we are or have fallen prey to the movements of the stock markets around the world, which are currently, don't forget, we had news of a stock market bubble. It's been years now. And as that bubble begins to pop, everyone's like, what's happening to the markets? Yeah, things are overvalued. And once again, it should not cost $500,000 for a studio apartment anywhere. Anyway, that's the price news, at least for right now. And yeah, let's move on. So I'm going to try and glaze over this one relatively quickly. This is one of the most popular news stories of the day. For those of you not looking at the screen, it says Twitter's stock sinks after Elon Musk says he could terminate the takeover deal. For those of you who do not know, I told you before, and I will never understand why people are so obsessed with him. I understand he has a cool story that was fabricated for him. I understand that he may have donated money, as many other billionaires do, because it's a very good way for them to seem nice or positive in the public spotlight. This man is a megalomaniac and probably a sociopath. There's a difference between a psychopath and a sociopath, and I would ask you to actually look up the difference because it's quite dramatic. The idea being, I don't think that Elon Musk actually cares about anyone but himself or his ego. I would even go so far as to say the idea of him taking over Twitter, some probably had a lot to do with the idea of his ego and how large he wanted to actually seem to billions of people around the world. I would even go further to say that this man probably does not even have the money to actually take over Twitter. I know someone just threw up their arms and they were like, but it doesn't make any sense. He's super rich. You have to understand the idea of owning or having a net worth of $1 billion does not mean that you have $1 billion in the bank. No one would do that. That is absolutely insane. You own $1 billion worth of assets that are scattered around the world, and that's how you are considered a billionaire. People add up the assets that they know that you have publicly stated that you have bought, that you have registered, whatever the actual case might be, and this is how they come up with that number. It also has to do with the idea of stock, how much stock you own in multiple companies and other countries, what have you. The idea of you liquidating all of that at one time to make one purchase is completely insane, and nobody would actually do that. So I would assume that liquid, he probably did not even have the money to actually go through with his deal. And the entire idea, right, and once again, this is popular cryptocurrency news. I'm not sure how this leaked into crypto news. I assume it has to do with Elon Musk and Dogecoin. But alas, his entire idea now as to why he wants to stop the Twitter takeover is because he says that Twitter is full of bots, and he should have been informed about this from the people at Twitter before. That is absolute nonsense, and we all know that. Everyone who uses any social media platform knows that the entire platform is just full of bots. Twitter's full of bots, Facebook is full of bots, Instagram is full of bots, even Reddit has a huge bot problem. We live in the year 2022, and anyone who has used a computer within the last year, I even give you 3 weeks. I'll shorten the year to 3 weeks, and I will say you have come into contact at some point with a bot. Have you ever posted on social media and left hashtags and you started having automatic responses to what you wrote? Those are bots who are following the hashtags that you wrote and then posting under it. That's just how it works. So his idea is, I should have been told before, and therefore I don't want to go through it anymore because Twitter doesn't seem like a real platform. I find it quite hard to believe that a team of lawyers standing behind him would allow him to even be able to go through the motions of having to sell a huge amount of his portfolio of other assets that he owns around the world to be able to have the cash to pay this deal, usually over the course of a 10 to 15 year period. It's usually not at one entire go. But no one sat behind this man and told him before he bought. Don't forget, Elon Musk also bought 10% of Twitter a couple of months ago. Don't forget about that. Remember the entire acquisition, him owning a portion of Twitter. Everyone was like, yeah, freedom. And then he announced a couple of days later that he wanted to take over the entirety of the company. You mean to tell me no one behind him or even himself were told exactly how many actual users were on Twitter? What was the point of announcing that you wanted to buy Twitter? He wanted attention. So, once again, gonna glaze over it. There's a lot more that I want to say. They're basically within the paperwork. The people from Twitter are saying no. At this point, I think they've signed some paper, and he cannot allegedly go back on the deal. I assume he never really wanted Twitter in the first place. It's just all for show. Yeah, this is incredibly popular news. A lot of people are saying what he's doing is a boss move. No, this is a psychological issue that needs to be actually worked out. I'm telling you, look into what a sociopath actually is. And even more so, look into the word megalomaniac, because I've said that many times on the channel before, and I saw a lot of responses in the comment section, and people have no idea what that word actually means. You don't do something like this simply because you're trying to be a good person. Elon Musk was not fighting for your freedom. I promise you. So yeah, once again, not sure why this made heavy crypto news. I assume it's the Dogecoin kind of thing. I think people will simply follow him forever, regardless of what he does or what he says or how detrimental it might actually be to many other spaces out there, because you've even noticed a lot of times he realized and realizes that he can't move the prices of the cryptocurrency market anymore like he used to try to do for Dogecoin. And even before that, for a lot of you who weren't here before the entire Elon Musk heart Dogecoin thing, he was trying to do it to the price of Bitcoin, but he realized that he couldn't move the price of Bitcoin as much as he wanted to, because allegedly, behind the scenes, we had news that he had met up with a number of Bitcoin developers and was trying to get control over Bitcoin. Surprise, yeah, he apparently had talks, the same exact ones that he had with the team from Dogecoin, and was talking to them saying, hey, I want control over the project, what do I have to do? And they said, sir, that's not how it works. This is a decentralized protocol. This is a decentralized project. People around the world are running nodes and are running validators, and they are the ones who are actually getting to vote on things. Allegedly, he did not like that, went to the Dogecoin people. They said, sure, that's totally fine, and that's how he became buddy-buddy with the people from Dogecoin. Allegedly. I go over the news every single day, so this is all that's been compiled in my head, but what have you. So yeah, that's the Elon Musk is trying to get rid of the deal that he probably could not afford or did not want in the first place. And I assume if this does not go through, he's going to throw his arms in the air. He's going to scream, bots, bots, bots. I can't believe that robots are everywhere. And everyone will side with him because no one ever looks any deeper into what this man is actually doing or what Bill Gates is doing or any other billionaire who's swinging their proverbial bank account around at other people. And then by the end of this year, he's going to have another acquisition that he's going to try and do. People are going to love him for it. And forget all about the Hyperloop that he can't build because that's not how technology actually works, or the underground system that he has in Las Vegas where people can simply drive underground as opposed to above on the actual streets, or the many other things that he's proposed that he wanted to make over the last couple of years, and none of them will actually come to fruition because scientists and actual physicists know that these things aren't actually possible. And without further ado, let's move on. Here we go. Also in these were side by side, I'll have you know, the Elon Musk and also this news. And the most popular news story of the day, the SEC is at it again, and I'm going to tell you why this time is very, 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 very different. U.S. regulators are reportedly probing Binance over its 2017 initial coin offering, or its ICO, adding additional pressure to the embattled exchange currently facing an accusation of having facilitated billions in illicit funds in recent years. The accusation came out a couple of hours ago as well. I am going to assume this is me myself, the way that I'm looking at the things that I have read. The accusations are quite racist. This is my view of it, as they came from Reuters, and the idea from Reuters is because Changpeng Cao is Chinese and does work within China, that he must have facilitated a number of illicit activities with the Chinese government, and also was purportedly helping the country that is above South Korea. Yes, that one. And these are all completely unsubstantiated. They're simply a report that someone wrote on the website, and now everyone is going stark raving mad for it. For those of you who do not know, there were many coins back in 2016 and 2017. ICO was the big word. It was the ETF. It was the NFT of the time. These are buzzwords that we have thrown around all the time in the cryptocurrency space, and back then it was ICO. The idea being, if you wanted to start a company or raise money for your cryptocurrency endeavors, you did not have to go through the entire 5-year process of applying with the SEC or any other company to be able to be listed on a stock exchange. So cryptocurrency companies said, cool, we are not the stock exchange, we are not Wall Street, let's do it on our own terms. They announced ICOs as a way for people to be able to get into the coins earlier, i.e., when this coin launches, it may, no one knows, start at 50 cents. However, if you join part of the ICO to give us the funding to be able to continue with our project, in this case Binance, you may have the coin for around 10 cents. It happened with Ethereum. It happened with nearly every other coin around that time. They all had ICOs. This is not a specific thing. This is not a Ripple XRP thing. This is not a pointing a finger at one single coin. You can take all 10 fingers and point them into a corner and get your friend to put their hands on top of your hands and then point in that corner. Every single coin had an ICO at that point. Public knowledge. We all knew about this. Part of the issue, my friends, is that the US SEC is on a warpath. I'm not sure what's going on internally with them. I'm not sure if they all had a very bad burrito. I'm not sure what is going on in their minds. However, they are under the illusion that they can control anything that has a monetary number in front of it based on laws that happened in 1927. That's not a fake time frame as well. You know, a lot of times you'll hear me say, well, that happened 3 million years ago. No. This is a law that is almost 100 years old that the US SEC created themselves back in the 1920s or very early 1930s. It had to do with the idea of, I believe, an orange grove, a literal orange grove where someone purportedly had put money into it, and apparently there was an expectation of profit from the investment that they had made in said orange grove. And at that time, the US SEC was formed to basically control anything that they believed was purchased by other people, once again, with an expectation of profit. And this is usually how securities are measured, at least within the United States. Backing it on up once again, the US SEC has come after many, at least dozens at this point, of cryptocurrency projects over the years. We heard about them. They disappeared into dust at some point, the most popular of them being the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit that they have going on right now, where everything that the SEC is allegedly stating from the news that I've been reading has been allegedly false, and they're just simply throwing things out there to try and allegedly gain control of the case. And thankfully, the current judge who is presiding over the entire thing keeps looking at SEC with a side eye, and they're like, what are you doing? Why are you even in this courtroom? One of the major things about the US SEC, as far as I've read over the last couple of years, trying to once again do my own research on exactly who they are, has to do with the idea of protecting the US consumer. This is why they are called the US SEC. The idea being, if a company is offering something to US customers around the world, it has to typically go through them, either them or the CFTC. It cannot be offered to their citizens without having gone through the right amount of paperwork. And therefore, if you do not sign these 15 pieces of paper with a signature on the bottom corner and say, yes, I have read everything, then therefore you are a security. Part of the problem with that is that, and I'll give it to you this way. We all know what an apple is. Right, cool. Apples can be bright red, apples can be light red, apples can be even pink in some cases, apples can be yellow, apples can be green. We all know what a banana is. Got you there. A banana can sometimes be yellow, they can be green, they can be actually super long, they can be plantains or plantanos, and they can have a dark green color, or you can even wait until they become fairly ripe and they become a dark brown so you can cook them and they're nice and sweet. We're all on the same page? Cool. We all know what these things are because we've seen them multiple times. We walk into supermarkets, we see that these things are purchasable, and many times we have also purchased them. Still with me? Cool. Got it. The US SEC is there to know exactly what a security is. We know what apples are. We know what bananas are. When we look at them, we can say that is an apple. That is a banana. I would assume that the US SEC, looking at anything within the cryptocurrency space, would immediately be able to say that is a banana. That is an orange or an apple, any other type of fruit that's actually out there. Part of the problem is that the US SEC has a really weird, let's wait 5 years time frame to point fingers and say, oh no, that is actually illegal. That should not have been done. The same exact way with that guy on his last day in office filed a lawsuit against Ripple. And I think that was just a grudge, and that should also be investigated into because it seems like it was probably a little bit illegal to do that on your very last day in office. The idea of the US SEC is to be able to protect the US consumer. They've said this thousands of times to us. We want to regulate the cryptocurrency space to protect the US consumer. We want to make sure that the US consumer has all their rights and are protected by the law under our umbrella of gigantic amount of power that we have. You mean to tell me that the idea of a security was floating around, an unregistered security, was floating around the cryptocurrency space since 2016, 2017, and we, us, me and you were discussing it back then, and nothing within the SEC's radar said beep, 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 beep for Binance or any other coin at that time, which means to me that they allowed their citizens to then have access to what they are then claiming is an unregistered security and put them in allegedly economic harm's way. And now they're waiting until now to say that it's been a problem after all these years when they should have said something in 2017 to actually protect their citizens. Is everyone still with me? I sure do hope so. What is this idea of making sure that someone knocks over the paint on the other side of the room before you see them walk into the room and say, hey, there's a bucket of paint over there. Don't knock that over as I blindfold you and let you walk into the room where you can't see. Wouldn't it have made more sense in 2017 to tell the people from Binance, hey, we noticed that you're becoming quite large within the cryptocurrency space. We also noticed that you do not have a physical location. We would ask you wholeheartedly, could you please have a physical location and sign this paperwork so that we can help you along in your journey? And I'd even go so far as to say, remember when Binance was restricted or banned within the US and they created Binance US and they became a registered cryptocurrency exchange within the United States? This is over 2 years ago now. At no point did they see or say or talk to anyone from Binance in the year 2019 that their coin, Binance coin, might have been an unregistered security. Doesn't the timing seem a little weird that the same exact day where there's a Reuters report talking about this stuff that Binance might have allegedly done, the US SEC is now calling Binance coin an unregistered security when they should have done so years ago? Something very fishy is happening behind the scenes. I don't know the extent of these laws, but is there a police for the police? Who looks after the US SEC to see that what they're doing is not fraudulent and or not illegal? Why does it take years for them to constantly release reports or information that something might have allegedly been unregistered through them? Binance isn't a small company. Binance isn't a, fly by night. I've never Binance. I've never heard of said company. I have no idea what they do. Binance is the largest crypto exchange on the planet by volume. You mean maybe no. Maybe everyone in the SEC office was just hired yesterday. I think that seems to be the only logical conclusion that I can actually come up with, because how many times have we been talking about Binance? You mean to tell me it took them 5 years to come up with the idea that Binance might have done something incorrect in 2017, all the while 5 years allowing US citizens to have access to this coin? Corruption is an absolutely terrible thing, and I really wish that we could get it under control, because these people have an enormous amount of desperation to try and get the cryptocurrency world under their control. There is no working with us. There is no trying to help us. I believed a while ago, years ago, that they would release regulations at the end of 2017, early 2018, even just a blanket level thing. This is how much tax you have to pay. This is what is so-and-so. This is blah, 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 blah. No, I don't think the US is ever going to actually give proper regulations. And there's just going to be this constant loop of despair within all markets because they refuse to actually do anything that could actually help other markets. The world's largest crypto exchange by trading volume is in the US SEC spotlight over allegations it may have failed to register its token as a security with the agency. 5 years later, the agency is determining if a possible breach of US securities laws occurred. 5 years later. Why didn't this happen last year? Why didn't this happen in 2020? Why didn't they see that in 2017, a new cryptocurrency exchange was going to be launching who listed an ICO, and they had many problems with many other ICOs back then? I assume a lot of this has to do with making sure that Binance knows who the king is. Binance has had a very long, nonsensical battle with many regulators around the world, mainly US, Australia, and Singapore, for not having a physical location. They never planned on having a physical location. The idea was they don't need one. If someone needs to talk to us, we can fly to them. We can go in some certain place. We have a headquarters here and we have a headquarters there, or it's simply online because we live in the future and that's how things work. And I assume, this is an assumption, I wasn't in the room, They must have had a conversation with someone saying, we don't plan on having a physical location. We can make sure to restrict U.S. citizens from Binance and create a Binance US so that they then have, so-and-so there. I think at some point it's the same exact thing a couple days ago with the thing against the people from Binance. Not Binance. With the Gemini twins. Like, that was crazy. I don't think people understand the gravity of that. The Winklevoss twins have done everything in their power to make sure that they followed all types of regulations. And I think they're in trouble, what was it, with the SEC or something like that as well. That's insane. Imagine doing everything right your entire life and you still get in trouble. The SEC is on some type of a war path right now where they are desperately trying to get control over the space. And it's making them look absolutely insane at this point. Like, none of this looks like they're there for U.S. consumer protection. It looks like you're just simply trying to control something that you have no control over in some sort of really odd, disgusting desperation. Bloomberg first reported the news on Monday, citing people close to the matter who wish to remain anonymous. I wonder why. Due to the ICO investigation being a confidential affair, Blockworks attempted to contact the SEC but did not receive a reply. Yeah, this is major news. And what I said at the very beginning of this topic, I said something along the lines of I love the silence, something like that. I think people have finally realized, and even backing it up a tiny bit, I would even go further to say that this is actually one of the main reasons why the cryptocurrency market fell a lot more than the stock market did. We tend to be, we fall, cool, got it. But a lot of the movement in falling today seems quite direct, quite a specific period in time. Remember I mentioned before, this was not a joke. This was not a, oh, you better watch out, this could potentially happen. No, I told you, the US SEC, something's wrong. Something is actually inherently wrong behind the scenes that we simply don't know about. The idea of them even suing the team at Ripple for allegedly, think of the idea of what they're saying. It has nothing to do with doing something wrong. It's like you allegedly knew you were doing something horrific and terrible to the people of the United States, and therefore this is why we are suing you. That's the entire idea behind it. You gave these people something that you knew you should not have given them, and now U.S. investors are potentially in turmoil because of this unregistered thing that did not go through us. And I told you all, the SEC wants to win this lawsuit, not because it's a win for the American people. It's because if they do win that lawsuit, they are going to go after every other coin on the market. Because the US SEC believes in their heart of hearts, so they say, that every other coin, EVERYOTHERCOIN, on the market is a security, and they should have control over it. The lawsuit with Ripple it's been around 2 years now. That's an enormous amount of time to try and prove a point that you know you cannot win or should not win. As the SEC begins this investigation into Binance coin as an unregistered security, they're going to begin to go after every other coin as well. The silence that I love is the silence of people on Twitter and every other social media platform who normally would be cheering right now. So many people were lied to many, many years ago that Binance was a this, Binance is a that. And I told you, no, they're just a normal cryptocurrency company. They're not doing anything ostensibly insane or out of the realm of possibility. They simply became the #1 cryptocurrency exchange. And once again, a lot of people didn't care for that because the main head of Binance, his name is Changpeng Zhao. That's the reason. It's because of his name and because of his origin. Let's be completely honest with ourselves. The other part being, if the US investigation into Binance selling an unregistered security in Binance coin lasts over 2 years, it's going to drag down a number of other altcoins because they have their sights set on everything. Didn't it seem a little bit weird that about 2.5 weeks ago, someone from the US SEC reiterated only Bitcoin and Ethereum are not securities? Didn't I say, doesn't that seem a little bit odd that they're mentioning that right now? Why are they talking about that out loud? Doesn't it seem a little bit odd that nearly every single company in the cryptocurrency space who has a coin, the Gemini US dollar as well, which is supposed to be a workaround of the US dollar, is now all getting in trouble? That's why I don't believe that Terra Luna actually crashed by itself. So anyway, yeah, this is major news. I think the what's the word? It's finally settling in to a number of other people who screamed loudly years ago, unregistered security, that their coins that they were purchasing, that they just so believed were not securities because the US SEC did not say so, probably fall into that basket as well. I would love to hear from the US SEC to simply tell us, because at this point we know that regulations are coming. It doesn't have to come in the form of a bulldozer like it keeps coming every single day. It can come in the form of a letter to the entirety of the cryptocurrency space. We have looked over these 50 coins. These 12 to us do not seem like securities. These others, however, we will be looking into. It's not difficult. It does not take 5 years, and this is why so many people and so much money keeps leaving the United States. For some reason, the US SEC will not give proper... think of that. If the point of your office is to protect US consumers, protect them. Tell people within the United States what you think is or is not a security so that they can move to certain other coins. So that in the SEC's eyes, these people will not have any type of detrimental downfall to their portfolios or may not be in something that may harm them financially in the long run. Why has that still yet to happen? There's also other SEC news here, which I think you're going to love a little bit later on in the video. But yeah, this is, of course, major news. We will see how this unfolds as the week goes on. I am going to assume, just logically, because I've been here for a long time, the SEC is going to begin to go after a number of other coins. The coins' market caps of these other coins are going to begin to shrink, and people are finally going to realize that this entire time we should have been a community who helped each other, as opposed to sitting in our corner and saying XRP is terrible because of something somebody told me in 2016 that I can't even remember. Right. That's the allegedly Binance did something wrong 5 years ago, and the US SEC is just saying it out loud now. Crazy, right? Doesn't something seem a little bit off? Something seem a little weird? Okay. That's the Binance SEC news. And let's move on. Also in the news that I rolled my eyes at, the team at Solana has released a report examining the network's most recent 4.5-hour outage that occurred on the 1st of June. On that day at approximately 16:30, Solana's mainnet beta cluster stopped producing blocks due to a stalled consensus. According to the Solana team, validator operators worked to resolve the issue and decided to restart the network, because you can do that with every decentralized network. The actions resulted in durable nonce transactions being temporarily disabled, with the resumption of the block production happening on the same day. Consequently, the Solana team identified that the outage was caused by a runtime bug triggered by the durable nonce transaction feature. Oh, of course, that's how all those things happen. Of course, nonces. Under specific circumstances, this bug allowed for a failed durable nonce transaction to be processed twice, thus causing a scenario of non-determinish when a validator attempted to process the transactions a second time. 66% of nodes rejected the block, while 33% accepted it. So the news is, the thing that caused a bug allegedly 5 times already this year, I think it's been 351% attacks and 5 network stops, were allegedly caused by this bug. Why the second time there wasn't a proposal to stop it, stop that feature, I don't know. But the 5th time clearly seems to be a very lucky charm. And now they're trying to think about disabling that feature that keeps stopping the blockchain. Is it a blockchain? Can you restart a blockchain? I don't think so. This was quite popular news. I think Solana actually went up by 6% on this news. I would love to be a fly on the wall of at least 10,000 investors to know exactly why they keep buying this coin that has had 8 problems this year. I would sincerely love to know why everyone is so attached to this thing that keeps breaking. That's the Solana is planning on stopping the thing. Like, imagine you're walking down the street. Everyone knows the Spice Girls. Remember like those gigantic boots that they used to wear like in the 90s? I mean, they were just massive platforms. Imagine walking down the street, one foot has those, and the other one is like a pair of high heels. Doesn't make any sense. It's not supposed to. You can't walk down the street, and you realize after 8 blocks, wow, my feet hurt, and I also look ridiculous. Maybe I should change. You see across the street, there's a nice little sneaker store. You go buy some normal flats, put them on, walk outside, and you go, oh, this is a lot better. It took you 8 blocks to realize that you couldn't walk properly, and now you want to change your shoes? I don't understand. I'm not. And without further ado, let's move on. Also, and here's the other mega popular news. A further 2 cryptocurrency-backed exchange-traded funds have launched on the CBOE Australia's exchange on Monday, bringing the total number of cryptocurrency ETFs that are available in Australia to 6. You know what's crazy is I was watching the news and Australia's still around. They haven't collapsed. There's not madness in the streets. They seem to be doing just fine with 6 crypto ETFs in their borders. That's really weird. Why? I mean, we were given news before by the US SEC over the last 5 years that the US markets simply aren't ready. The idea is, you know, there's so much manipulation happening that the U.S. markets would not be able to take the weight of a Bitcoin ETF. I mean, it just seems to be so bad. The Canada-based 3iQ Digital Asset Management launched 2 spot ETFs, the 3iQ CoinShares Bitcoin Feeder ETF and 3iQ CoinShares Ether Feeder ETF. Both of the Australian funds feed from the firm's Canadian ETFs listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange, the 3iQ CoinShares Bitcoin ETF and the 3iQ CoinShares Ether ETF. The underlying assets of the Canadian ETFs are holding Bitcoin and Ether held in cold storage by Gemini. So weird that the rest of the world continues ticking even though they have Bitcoin ETFs. So weird. Maybe people in the US were lied to that a US ETF would actually damage their markets. I don't know. Maybe we'll simply never find out. Also, in really popular news, this one's on my Twitter. I retweeted this yesterday because I thought it was absolutely fantastic. If you were here in I believe it was 2019. It was definitely before the Roro. It's been a while. The US SEC, so people have always put forth proposals or paperwork to the US SEC saying, hey, we want to launch a Bitcoin ETF. Here is our paperwork. 99% of the time, these people have a team of lawyers behind them. The idea being, I assume it costs money to actually file this paperwork with the US SEC to be able to say, hey, our lawyers have looked this over. Here is the paperwork. We are trying to follow all of your guidelines to have a Bitcoin ETF launched with you. They've said no. Since around 2014, I believe. It's been a very, very long time, and I think the Winklevoss twins were the first ones to try and do it, which was even weirder because, once again, they were the champions of regulations. They were the ones who followed all the rules, and they kept on getting nay every single time. The other really weird part being is that during this process, the SEC has 2 timelines. The timeline from whence they get the paperwork, and they have 6 months to look over it, and they do not. And then at some point, at the end of that first timeline, they're allowed to say, oh, we need more time to look at these 15 sheets of paper because we only have 2 people working in the office. That's what I assume it looks like. I've never actually been there. And then at the very end of it, they always go, no, this does not go through. There's always a point where when a Bitcoin ETF is up for examination by the US SEC, that they allow for public comments, that is, On their website, you are allowed to go to said page. Once again, this is why I said if you've been here since 2018 or 2019, there was a point where there was a very big proposal for a Bitcoin ETF. I forgot which company. I don't remember what they were called anymore. But I mean, it was kind of like everyone knew that they were going to get it. They had set up for 3 months. This company set up. They made sure that they had everything correct. Gave all their paperwork to the US SEC. And then the US SEC was like, you know what? We're going to open this up to public comment on our website. On their website, you can see all the other proposals for ETFs or anything security-based that are on the waiting list, what have you. And you can click on them and you see that they usually always either have 1 or 2 comments, as the public is allowed to respond to these things. You know, I think it should go through because of blah, 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 whatever the reasoning might be. This particular time, I made a video and I told people, hey, the US SEC has opened it up to the public. Let them know what you think about said proposal. I think we got over 150 people actually writing to the US SEC through email and also on their website, basically saying, hey, launch this thing right now. And there was one person who said no. I looked through all of them. There was one. That was years ago. The US SEC actually, I remember, even came forward and they were like, whoa, we have an unprecedented amount of people who are saying that they want this thing to go through. Optimism was fairly high. I told everyone we did that as an experiment because I knew that the US SEC, even then, I knew exactly who they were and what they were going to say. The answer was no. Surprise, we still do not have a Bitcoin ETF in the United States. For those of you not looking at the screen, an account called Bitcoin Magazine tweeted yesterday that the current grayscale proposal for a Bitcoin ETF has over 11,000 comments. I want you to hear that once again. Normal proposals have 1 to 2 comments on the US SEC's website. When I made that video and told other people to go do it, we got over 150 responses, comments to the US SEC saying to do it, and they still said no. The grayscale proposal has over 11,000 comments. When the US SEC says no to this proposal, I want it to be abundantly clear to everyone out there exactly the kind of company, organization, regulatory, whatever they are, that they actually are. I want it to be abundantly clear. That's exactly why I retweeted this. 11,000 comments. So, yeah, I assume in the future, I've said this before, and I mean it. We are going to have documentaries about not only this time financially in traditional markets, but also in the cryptocurrency market now. If this entire cryptocurrency experiment, which is what it is, continues and goes gigantic, and we end up seeing crazy prices in 5 to 10 years, we are going to hear about all of these moments. There has 11,000 comments. You can't understand the scope of what that actually means when it comes to trying to get a proposal to be pushed through. This is why, for those of you who missed those videos, it was multiple videos. What was the other company? It wasn't Grayscale. Can't remember the name of them. There's another company who is also trying to get a Bitcoin ETF pushed through. And they've done, once again, all the paperwork. These companies don't simply try to take a test, do everything incorrectly, and then hand in terrible paperwork. No, this has been worked on for years. And they mentioned, which company was it? I can't remember which company it was. That basically, they hinted quite heavily, if the US SEC rejects their proposal, they are going to take legal action. Because there is no reason, zero, Z-E-R-O reason, why the US SEC keeps rejecting Bitcoin ETFs. That's exactly why I showed you the news about Australia right before this. There's a reason why I made the joke. Australia's still standing. Nothing detrimental has happened to their capital markets. None of them have collapsed because they have a Bitcoin ETF. Canada's still chugging along, doing fine. How many physical Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs exist within Europe and within Switzerland? I think it's dozens at this point. So, just get ready because we are going to hear about some type of a mega company legal battle against the US SEC sometime this year because they don't have the entirety of the year to give a yay or a nay on the proposal. I'm not sure what they're doing. I still believe money's being passed around between hands behind the scenes because it's where this week it's Tuesday. They could tell us exactly, give us 5 coins that aren't securities in their eyes. That already is it's a grain of salt as to what they should be doing, but it's a gigantic step forward. Why the rest of the world continues to move forward, but the US is constantly held back by their regulators, I cannot figure it out. Yeah, kind of disgusting, right? Let's move on. As always, a very big thank you to my Patreon supporters, GBU Wally, Bubble Mode, How's Life Austin, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Jamie Saad, Blockchain Simplified, and let's move on. Empire Queen, Roman Geba, Bitcoin Ben, Arachno Dave, Tony Ambrosi, The Dealer's Den, Captain Something in the Z Way Lay, Mobarazi, VB Nerd 21, Miguel Grolet, Lauren De Silva, Quoted Biddy, Troy Allgood, Space Case, Nita Miracle, Paternoster, Navarro Williams, Utopia 569, Moonman High, XRP, Martin Steuer, Nostromo, John Sarson, The Animal Reader, Bibliophobia, Todd Mullis, Adam Graysick, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Bankroll Network, Crypto Artist, Cole D3D, Setsuna, Richie Rich III, Paxis, Nick Mangialavori, Jim Gardner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Yes to Crypto, Bodie McBoatface, Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, Bake Me a Cake, Tigara Macho Nisa, On Crypto with Lionel, and Creole and Michelle, URL. Thank you all very, very much for your continued support. Thank you to everyone who left a like, everyone who left a comment, everyone who has subscribed, everyone who is still here listening to me ramble on about corruption. If you are still here listening to or watching this video, let me know by writing the word corruption in the comment section. At the moment, Bitcoin is currently down by 5.6%. It is still at 29,522. It looks like a good day to me. Bitcoin could be 21,000 right now. Think about it. We could be looking at an $18,000 Bitcoin, but it's still within that exact same range where it has been over the last couple of days. Ethereum is down by 7%. Binance Coin, unsurprisingly, is down by 8%. It has the biggest swoop down. Many other coins follow the same trajectory as Bitcoin, but this one seems to be a little more dramatic. Cardano is down by 8. XRP is down by 3. Solana is down by 9. I think one of them bucked the trend. It was one green coin we passed by. Tezos is up by 3%. Not really sure why, but alas, good job for them. Yeah. The market's in red as once again, the stock market is also in a light red. Also, stock futures are also in red. And don't forget, the Fed keeps doing stuff behind the scenes and they're having all these conversations about trying to control or maintain or reel in capital markets once again because they done goofed and printed too much money. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a wonderful day, a wonderful morning, wonderful afternoon, and a great evening. Wherever you are, wherever you might be on this weird little tiny planet, I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, and or supporting, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.